Why, hello there. Here we are, back with another live stream after the last one, where we did have a bunch of technical difficulties. I hope we're not having those today. Doesn't look like it so far. But alas, fingers crossed. So to start out, let's have a little retrospective of what we achieved in the last stream. For those lucky ones who are wondering why this is number 7 and nothing of what I'm going to say now is going to show up in number 6. There has been a stream number 7 that didn't work correctly and thus did not get saved. So this is basically 7.1. And we are continuing where we left off in the last stream. So what we did, or what we intended to do, was to set up the first puzzle, which involves our new pet that we made. We made this cereal, we made this spray bottle, and we set up so that the tablet needs to be picked up before anything else can be done. Before that, I did rewrite the inventory system. Let me just pull it up real quick. So the original not interaction, but inventory system is basically the exact same one that Ryan Laley does on his YouTube channel, just with a whole bunch of extras. And he is using a data table to, basically have all the items that exist in one place and pull information from those with a just ID. What I did now is, because I will have like a huge portion of items and also a bunch of data for anime montages on using voice acting and all that, which is saved on the asset, and therefore I made data assets in the inventory system accept data assets. So this is like the special stuff. Item crafting is hard-coded, and instead of taking in just names, I'm adding content data and the actual assets. So this way it will just keep track of what it actually needs and not everything. Whole bunch of gibberish if you don't know the entire series of Brian Laley's inventory. But just so you know, I rewrote it to just save what it needs and not everything. And with rewriting stuff comes the difficulty of everything working together. This has been achieved, so let me show you real quick. We are running around the room. We cannot look at anything before picking up the tablet. It's the only thing we can see right now. This is because it has its own trace channel, and once we pick it up, we switch the trace channel over to regular item interaction, which is, I think, a very hacky way, but it works. So here we go. And what we can do so far is we can pick up the cereal. We put it in our hands and use it to interact with Goodye, our pet slime mold, and we are getting some dialogue when the interaction has happened, and the interaction now made him stage 2. So this is the other thing I did. I rewrote all the hotspots to have multiple stages during interaction, for example, to be compatible with multiple interactions. You saw now I could use the cereal and combine it with Goodye. And today we are setting up the spray bottle to also be used with Gautier, and on interaction it will check if we fed him before. If not, we just moisten him. If yes, we just basically put him to stage 3 of the interaction, and vice versa. So that's what we're gonna try to achieve today. Yeah, let me see. I think this... I'm gonna forget often that I need to pick up the tablet first whenever testing, so I think, yeah, this wardrobe is not locked. It should get locked, which is the goal of puzzle number 1, to unlock the wardrobe and say hi to Othello. He has been moved here as well. Yeah, that's basically where we are now. So the first thing we're gonna need to do is put in the correct reaction for Louise to have when looking at the tablet and picking it up, because for now there should nothing should happen. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. I inspected it, it vanished and nothing did happen. I do have an idea why that is, so let me check real quick. Yeah, on the player controller, so the interaction with hotspots has changed to be... okay, some more explaining. So the interaction pretty much works like a point-and-click adventure, right? So I can spawn in, get the tablet. Now I have Gautier. I can look at him. This is the inspect button, right-click. And when I'm pressing the left click, I do have nothing on hand, and it should check whether the object I have on hand is compatible with the hotspot, and it will try to combine both. If I have a none at hand, so a item ID none, it would have said that it's just not possible to do anything, and this is not correct in a point-and-click sense, but usually when you have nothing on hand and you press interact instead of look at, you will still just look at it. And this is what I achieved with, yeah, not the interface function. I need to go to the interaction itself to see it. So hotspots. Yeah, so this is the hotspot blueprint. On interact, what I've been calling, it will try to use what I have on hand, which is some spaghetti code. And it handles the input differently on whether I'm inspecting or not. So if I'm inspecting, I'm not trying to interact with anything, and if I'm interacting, I just check a whole bunch of stuff to see whatever the outcome is, to see if I tried to interact and it didn't work, or if I inspected, I have seen the item before. This is a functionality that is not used so far. But maybe some time just looking at an hotspot will be an objective, and I need to somehow manage whether I can send the objective ID twice, and if it's already marked seen, it will return inspected, unseen or seen, whatever is true. And it will just do the objective trigger once. Ah, my god. Be that as it may, what I'm doing right now is on the tablet, which is its extra or its own thing. It will just send a multicast delegate and destroy the actor. So I pretty much just need to make sure I am not inspecting. But due to that, I do not have the usual functionality for inspecting. I don't actually know if I did implement that already with inspecting normal items. It does work, okay. So I need to put the functionality of regular items into the tablet. So it's a little bit well, chaotic in here still, because I didn't get around to oh man, where did I put it? Yeah, it is this one. I didn't get around to cleaning up the folders right now. So this is the pickup base item. It's basically just all the functionality with this very pretty Oblivion inspired thing when I don't have a data asset in, and the only thing it does is literally this here. So let me see. I'm gonna look like a buffoon again, because those are systems I wrote a bunch of time ago. And I kind of forgot how some of them work in depth. So bear with me. Yeah, so player controller. And then I'm saying inspect feedback, and what this does is return inspect anim, and if it doesn't have that, yeah, so let me have a look at the interface functions. Let me put those back into the tablet. Okay, it does have the inspect montages. But I did not put any. Okay, so another explanation. The montages is the way my voice acting system works. It's basically just additive curve data. So T-posing Louise overlaid with curved data that is generated by Blender's lip sync tool. And the montage will just bring in the subtitle text and the voice acting, and this will be stored in the montages. Same thing with interact montages. It's a little bit more elegant on the items, but it doesn't need to be on the tablet. Okay, return description text, item description. I do have set it up, but it doesn't seem to work. Why is that? Ah, yeah, okay, it does work. but, and there's always a but. This should actually not be the inspect text. So why did I close this and where? Okay. You have not seen this. Okay. Need to be a little unoptimal here. And this is going to be an array. And here's the text. These two right here. And the BPC jumble, I did explain that before. It's just a blueprint component that I wrote with a single function on it. And all it does is it does pull random objects or random indexes from any array, or it does put random indexes from a range to pull from an array. And keeping track of them, so I can pull randomly without any repetition. And with that I should be able to get random text. With just 2 it's not that interesting, but with more of those it's gonna be working great. So I do have my inspect text, and then I need my on pickup text. And let me see, I don't know if I have actually handled that on the objects. I'm not knowing or not aware of a lot of stuff. Okay, there's no interact text for now. But I have been doing a lot of specific stuff, and it's getting blurry on the details. It's not because I'm stupid, I promise. So the pickup. I think I am not yet handling picking. I think I do handle it on hotspots, because let me just check. I'm not saying BS. Yeah, I do have interact text. And in case you are wondering about this button and why does it look so strange, those who have seen the game before will not be familiar with this button as well. I did make a little effort to design some unique buttons to have. It'll be visible better for here on the tablet. I designed this button which has a gradient from a little bit brighter to a little bit darker, and this rounded off edges here, clipped edges here, and I don't need to describe it, you can see it, god damn it. But yeah, I designed this and tried to put it on most of the UI stuff, and it hasn't worked so far for this button. Yeah, but vis-a-vis, I'm gonna redesign the UI to actually look like a UI and not like, you know, standard Unreal low budget UI. Okay, so pick up text. Do give me the hotspot base, please. Yeah, I am returning Louise and yeah, I can easily do that on the items as well. So this is basically just the result of what can happen on interacting and doing the necessary stuff to do whatever we have to interact, and one of those is triggering the interact part, not the interact part, the speech part directly on Louise. Okay. We do have one pickup montage then. Let me just do it on the regular pickup first. Let's do it here. Okay, and I can say return Louise. No. Where is the message? Yeah, that's what I want. Thank you. Then we're gonna save Louise real quick. Why am I being stupid? Okay. And when successfully adding to the inventory, I can do all this again. This is what the destroy actor will do. Okay, and another thing I was intending to do is get some common stuff. Yeah, on remote unlock. I think that's about it. It does have this. So this is one of the other things I got to implementing after last week's stream. This is the global events dispatcher plugin, which is free on Fab and is actually great. And I just did set up a global door unlocking framework with just this event, which is great, and I don't have to mess with the level and whatever blueprints, game mode, and so on, which I like. That's the function you might have seen before on here, call unlock remote. It's just calling the dispatcher with a key name, and it basically is just checking if any object that currently is subscribed to the dispatcher does have the key name, and if so, it will just set its locked status to unlocked. So pretty straightforward setup. I could do the tablet the same way, but well, I made it before, and it does work on the player anyway, so I don't actually need to make it with the global framework. But that's that. Yeah, it does have just the bind global event on construction script. I think that's actually it. Yeah, and I did not put that in because of the default scene route. Let me think. I think it might be wise to just make this here another function. Whatever. I'm just copying this real quick. I think most of it should still be working. Yeah, I don't have hotspot data, but item data. And for item data, all of that does look a little bit different. Just gonna pull myself the item data. And it does have all of those. Pick up text and pick up voice acting. That's what I want here. Get pick up text. And get pick up voice acting. Alright, now we're gonna see, is it valid? This here is text. No, this is text. This is voice acting. Is it? It is. So if it is valid, so pick up voice, the difference is the interact voice lines are bound to whatever I'm interacting with, but pick up is an interaction that I can do only once. It doesn't make any sense to have more than one pickup text, and therefore if it is valid, we're just gonna return it. Yeah, and like this I couldn't actually have had the function inherited because it does work in a different way here, and if it's not valid, of course, we're returning text. And I think it doesn't even need the player input. Okay. If it's true, we've had success. Okay. Now let's see if there is any pickup. That's wrong, that's from the old system. Let's see if we do have any pickup text. Well, I'm not gonna eat that, okay. And theoretically, we should get this text. Yeah, perfect. So for some reason, she's doing the animation but not picking up the object. Sometimes Louise will go there and not pick up the object, which I know why. So whenever she does try to reach something, a line trace from her step height is cast to see if there's anything in the way she cannot scale in order to reach it, and sometimes I need to tweak it so that it does not miscalculate that often. But while she's doing the animation, which should actually be done in sync with picking something up, and she does not pick it up, I don't actually know why that is. So game development is very fun. Alright, this is working, and we can do the same thing now for the tablet. Yeah, another thing I changed, this is currently returning Louise directly, but it's planned to not do that, so we have a return function. Yeah, like a interface return function, so we can actually return the Louise without. It's basically a cast, because Louise is pretty much always loaded. Yeah, it doesn't have item data. So a little bit different here as well. Okay. Yeah, this is also a remnant of prototyping. So this should not actually be a data asset. And this should... Come on. Please don't die on me. I cannot have that right now. Thank you. Yeah. I was intending to store the montages in a data asset before, but it does not actually make sense the way it's set up now, because everything else is in a data asset. And here we can just put in the text, doesn't need to have a variable. So the text is just pre-written stuff that I sent to Maple. For her to read, but she didn't do so because she fell sick. Now I'm just using text. So we can do the stuff. Yeah, inspect montages, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I didn't explain that, even though I wanted to, right? So this is supposed to be our alarm clock ringing on the tablet, and that's the thing. So now on picking it up, we do have the correct text. Perfect. Yeah, we are making leaps here. You are starting off locked. And the key item name is gonna be dorm wardrobe key. And now when I'm trying to open it, it should just say locked. Yeah, perfect. So, the spray bottle. Just make another data asset. And that's one other spray bottle. That's, yeah, well, one thing why I switched over to data assets, as you can see here, by the old system we had the data table, but I had to make a child blueprint class for everything. Well, I'm gonna have either data assets or child blueprint classes anyway, but I think the data assets are easier for the inventory to handle, while also being easier to set up. As you can see, I'm just putting in a bunch of data instead of creating a child blueprint, doing data or storing all this data in the data table, and also change stuff in the blueprint. So with the pure data assets, it is actually easier. So this is the item. Yeah, I wrote spray mister now. Spray bottle. And let me see. We do have a combine with. Yeah, I said spray mister here as well. Spray bottle. Yeah, before that I had on the combine just two names to get a result name, to pull the data from the data table by the ID. Now I actually need to forward the Data asset reference. But I think that's a worthwhile trade-off. Spray bottle, which is this. Spray bottle. And it's gonna be called Plant Mister. Even though everything else on it is called spray bottle. Inspect plant mist. Oh, well, I was really witty here. Really, really witty. Okay, but I did actually get that wrong. Okay, I can combine the spray bottle with the DOM cereal box to get DOM cereal box soggy. And I think use success text I just said. Gross. Pickup text. Do I have pickup text? No. Just a put. Supposed to put out some sound effect. Yeah, which I thought having Louise comment on literally everything she's picking up is gonna get annoying. So this one's not gonna get pick up text. Okay. But I don't actually remember. I did look for a icon. Yeah, delicate perfume. Those are actually just free icons you can get from the internet. They are placeholders, obviously. Delicate perfume. DOM spray bottle, plant mister, blah blah blah. And let's just see if this is working right away. Of course, I have to put it into the scene first. So this is working as intended. DOM spray bottle, here we go. And now we should be able to pick it up. Yes. Yes. Here it is. Come on. Now we have both and should be able to combine it. Perfect. But Yeah, I think it did work, but I did not change out the dry cereal for the soggy cereal. Cereal box soggy. It should not combine with anything. It's actually not an objective because the puzzle itself, the objective is always just to trigger another stage in the journal component. And since this puzzle is not supposed to do that, it's not actually getting an objective ID. Maybe Gautier is gonna get one, but I think it's well, it is kind of a tutorial puzzle, so we can do it, but that's tomorrow's concerns. I'm just looking if I had description text for the soggy cereal. But I don't actually... Yeah, I don't actually think so. Just need to double check something. Yeah, that's the pickup text. When I'm back here, cereal, bland, dry. All right. No, that was correct. And this is gonna say bland and slimy. Okay, test number 2. Pick up tablet. And combine both. And the tooltip's not working. Why is it not working? Okay, looks like I did produce a bug. Let's see, DOM cereal box soggy, DOM cereal box, plant mister, DOM spray bottle. Okay, gonna have to look at the inventory component. I think it's probably not passing the data asset correctly. Because when I'm putting items into the inventory from the world, the data asset is actually stored on the asset itself, but on the inventory, that's not the case, because every slot is just storing the name and quantity, or the item ID and the quantity, in the actual data, whatever, is stored in this map. And I think this function is being called combine items. Think it's going wrong somewhere in here. So let's see. Yeah, I do have enough empty slots for the operation. Of course, I'm not getting debug data for the component name is passing. The slot is DOM spray bottle, alright. It does combine with DOM serial box. So on the loop body it should pass DOM serial box here, and this is DOM serial box soggy as the result. Is saying true. I'm removing from the inventory. Then I'm removing, so I remove both of the source inventories, and then I'm adding this. Which does add the correct data asset, and I'm saying success true. Okay. So this should have worked by combining them correctly. So let's see if there's a fault in here. This is gonna trigger a bunch of times now. We're adding this. DOM spray bottle with the correct data asset. Perfect. We're adding this. Not perfect. Okay, so I do hope this is a bug. Yeah, now it does have both. And now in combination I should trigger it again. Yeah, it does know about DOM soggy serial. And unsere should be in the inventory now, which I can move around, but it doesn't give me any tooltip text. I don't know. This should be working. Why isn't it working? Okay, let's try again. See if we are triggering anything else. I think we should go here. No. Okay. Still false. We are finding a slot. Yeah, debugging, the best thing there is in the entire world. Gotta love it. So it's not a provision, so it's going to the open inventory. Okay. Interestingly enough, yeah, because I'm actually stupid, that's... I was saying before I'm not stupid, but I obviously am. It's the false branch, and we are creating a new stack here, of course. So we should be ending up here. Yeah, dumb spray bottle. Yeah, so now it created a new stack. On slot 12, that is correct. It put one new stack there of item ID spray bottle. Okay. So same thing's gonna happen again. And let's see. Same thing is happening again. True. New stack. Item ID DOM soggy serial. On slot number 12. I do have the data here. And I'm seeing it's probably this again. Let me see. So this function is actually supposed to throw back out. So I'm adding the before the entire operation, I'm adding the data asset to the inventory, but whenever I'm putting out a fail, so for example there haven't been enough free slots to take it in or something like that, it would have kept the data asset stored, which I don't want. So I'm having this function here, and it's supposed to trim it back down. Basically, it's just saying if I have 0 of these in store, it's just throwing them out. But I'm kind of expecting for this to trim off something I want. All right. Come on. Condition false. I'm not removing. Because I do have 1 and not 0. Same thing is gonna happen here. Condition false. I'm not removing. And now, well, condition false. I'm not removing. Why? Okay, gonna have to bring out the heavy stuff. All right, should be empty now. DOM spray bottle. Now I have both of those, and when combining them, I should. DOM soggy cereal, it's there. Which means it's there. Maybe I can also go for the values. See if they are correct. This should be working. Why isn't it working? But yeah, it's not removing them because remove item does not pass an ID. Or rather, okay. DOM serial box. Gonna go through here. Gonna go through here. Okay, this should actually be working for both. Condition false. Why is the condition false? Yeah, when I'm saying out quantity is 0. Okay. Wrong button. Okay, I wanted to see what's in there after the fact. Yeah, I really need to tweak that. Okay, now we have both of those. Now we have but one of them. This is working as intended. I'm guessing that's then some problem with the UI. So let me see. Yeah, it doesn't work like that anymore. I should be able just gonna put in some random different icon to see if that gets updated. Yeah, whatever. This is working, okay. This is not mouse button down. Okay, button. I think this was actually just an option to check whatever to show. Let me just Google real quick. Yeah, that tooltip text somewhere. I think I made this UI system like 1.5 years ago by now. So I just switched out some of the stuff here to work with the new data asset approach, which pretty much really just was switching out the old function for this one and seeing if there actually was text. This thing broke, I've seen that, but I think it isn't really that important to fix now. This thing doesn't care about the mouse over text, I think. Pretty sure it's somewhere in here. Yeah, this is just for the quantity text. This is just the icon. Get button slot tooltip text. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, because it was still pulling from the data table and the serial box was still in there. Yeah, that's easy going. Okay, display name. And description text. Be good now and work, please. Wonderful. And now we can try out. Why? Okay. So I'm guessing the quick bar which is pretty much a branch of the tag blah blah branch of the inventory slot. Pretty certain it does have the data table in here somewhere. If it's true what I'm thinking, then I should not be able to put this here. Yeah. Does have to do okay. Yeah, okay. This is actually an easy error that I had before. Okay, don't need the base and the grid. No. Need to see if the item ID is not my god, it's getting dark in here. If that is true, I'm returning the text. And if it's not true, I'm not returning the text. I think this should take care of this error. it's returning text for this. No error, perfect. But where in here? Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is actually a little bit complicated because this struct did save the class of the item that I was spawning, or the item, basically the child blueprint that contained all the information plus the ID, in order to have it at hand. So I think it should still be working for the serial box because it's in the data table. It did work earlier. Let me just show you real quick. I think this should still be working. Yeah, so I pulled that into the quick bar, and when I pull stuff in the quick bar, we saw that earlier, I can put it in my hand to use it for interaction. And the item class was actually saved in the data table. But since I'm not having more item classes, I'm just saving the mesh. Which is pretty much okay since I don't need any functionality from the item, just the mesh. I can see to do I set it as well here? I'm invalidating it. Yeah, okay. The quick bar is still spaghetti code because I never got around cleaning that up. Because it's actually it was quite hard to get it to work. It's based on references from so it's basically an array of references to the actual inventory, and because of that, it was very easy to mess it up by, for example, pulling something here, then putting another item, switching it out with another item, didn't switch it out here, and all that good stuff. So it was very complicated to get to work. That's why we do have spaghetti here. But I need to see. Looks like the only time I'm getting this. So maybe it's still due to the drag and drop operation. I think, yeah, we are debugging this right now until it works, whatever it may cost. And then I think that's gonna be it. So yeah, here we go. Problem number 1. I'm not getting the inventory in the drag preview. Really don't want that. So I need to do that differently. This is on drag detected, and so this is actually, I think this is kind of a stupid way to do it. Yeah, just let me get this on drag detected. Have this here, and instead of the item ID, I'm just passing in the image directly. So texture 2D object reference. Okay. And in here, should be able to pass this directly. Failed to compile Y. For the same reason, okay. Okay, drag and drop should be working now, okay. Drag preview from the inventory. Check. Okay, and the same thing should work on the quick bar. Okay, and on drop. Let me see if this is being called. Yes. And it's giving me -1 index, which means let me go to the return maybe. Still a -1, okay. So -1 is the error index, which means there will not be anything indexed here. The operation quantity 1, provision false. Okay. Stack instance 0. But why is it calling -1 here? when I'm setting it 12 here. And if I remember correctly, it is necessary to save it first because of the swapping. If I'm just pulling the inventory index, it's not going to work swapping. But I'm confused on why this is returning -1. Let's see if it's a bug with breakpoints. No. Okay. Looks like I'm not passing the inventory index correctly, maybe. Should be 12. It's -1. Why is it -1? Okay, so everything here is working as intended. Inventory index on drop. So the drag preview does not matter. The drag and drop operation does have the index. Yeah, it's using the same drag and drop thing. Okay, is any of this being called? I'm kinda confused because it has been working up until now. And I did not touch anything to do with drag and drop. So on quick bar drop. What am I checking here? Blah, blah, blah. Setting quantity. Setting the class. Okay, I think it might actually be there, but it's not getting rendered because it's not finding the data table row. Let's see. Yeah, of course that's happening. And now it's there, okay. So it was actually being dragged to the correct point, but the image did not show up. Okay. Now the only thing I think we gotta fix is this here. Then again it's just two setters. Well, let's just try out what's happening without the correct class here. Better than just save first. Okay. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. Attached carried item is on Louise, okay. Wanna see the errors again. Yeah, those are both on Louise. And I think the problem on both is the carried item here. I'm setting that where Yeah, I think that is... Yeah, this is a dispatcher thing. Which means it's probably set up on the parent. Yeah, attach carried item. This does happen in the player controller. Man, I had been of the opinion I'd still have that open. Okay, item to hand. Yeah. So this is what I need to set from the item class in the UI, I guess. Item to hand, yeah. And I think quick by input, item to hand. Just remembering how complex the inventory actually was. Now, where did I get that? The tablet home screen. I'm anticipating to have to go through a bunch of screens before finding anything. Tablet base, tablet home screen, this one. Okay, this is actually not being called. Update quick bar. Slot swap index, that's not what I need. Yeah, use quick bar slot, and I'm getting the item class here. Okay. Is there a way to make this? No. Okay, but this does actually look doable. Because I can say the item class that I spawn at hand, it doesn't need to be it just needs to be a mesh actor. So I can just say blueprints, world items, just gonna make a new actor and just call this mesh at hand. It's gonna have a static mesh component, and this static mesh component it should be instance editable. Just put this here, expose it on spawn and on begin play. Doing nothing but setting this because everything else is gonna be handled by the inventory. You don't actually need the item class here then, because on the tablet home screen we can just spawn mesh at hand and now where did I put did I close off my player controller? No, I'm just stupid again. Use quick bar slot. It's happening on the call on item. And did this happen on the player pawn? Attach carried item, yeah. Did I implement it on Louise? Yes, I did. Okay. Then again, no. I'm being confused. On item at hand. Item at hand. Item to hand. Here, call on item to hand. Call on item at hand. Those are actually Different dispatchers, okay. Tablet home screen. Use quick bar slot. Call on item at hand. I must admit, this is a tad annoying. I'd like to look for all the references, please. Yes, just do it. So this is gonna take a while. I hope you've had a nice day. So one of those things I don't actually know is why it does have to index exactly 271 blueprints each and every time I'm going for all those references, because I'm pretty sure there are more blueprints since I used this the first time, and it's always the exact same number. So if anybody does have any insight, feel free to share. I'd be happy to know, especially because it's taking ages each time. And maybe you also know why I made a dispatcher called item at hand and I made one item to hand. Maybe it was past me being spiteful again, thinking, fuck you, future me. You're gonna sit there awkwardly talking while waiting for blueprints to be indexed. And usually it's taking like 2 or 3 minutes, but as one famous German kid once said, I don't wanna wait, I wanna play Unreal Tournament. Which is kind of what this is right now. At least it feels like a game of life and death. I'm gonna be angry if this is actually the only reference of call item at hand. Probably is, because it's looking for call, right? Not for the actual class member. Of item at hand. I don't know why it's playing sound now. Let's just cut that out real quick. Okay, here we go. Item at hand. Bind event to item at hand. Tablet saving. Okay, it's in the player controller. Where though? Item at hand. Item to hand. Okay. Is this actually an event, not a function? And I'm use quick bus load. Pretty sure it's a function, isn't it? To action item to hand, yeah. And here we go. Spawn actor of class. Okay, this is the correct function. Have to restart the engine really quick. Wonderful. Okay. Player controller. Of course it didn't save my last open function. Here we go. Yeah, item class, item to hand. I don't actually okay. This is actually not gonna be easy. So you know what? I'll be doing this on my own. Pretty certain next time we're not gonna have to debug a lot of stuff, but we are basically able to solve the first puzzle, except for, well, the little hassle we are having with putting things in our hands. So I'd say here, this is for our German viewers. A little farewell gift from me. And farewell it is up until next week, when we're continuing the whole ordeal. Go therefore